What's up, everybody, and welcome again to Two Old Souls, the show where we talk about the movies, the shows, the music, the people, and most importantly, the memories that keep us young. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, and with me, as always, is Andrew. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, Mr. Michael.
How you doing? Hey, I know we're gonna be
Hello.
talking about a lot of misters today. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yes. We got a special one for you guys today. It's not just gonna be the two of us yammering on. Um, we are bringing in a very good old friend of mine. So whenever we bring in a guest here, we're gonna call them soulmates because who doesn't love branding and consistent synergy? So, my soulmate today that I'm bringing on is somebody that I have known since I was 13. Um, Much like how in TV shows you meet new people and it's like they get introduced, you get familiar with them, and then before you know it, they're a regular in your life, and you couldn't imagine the show without them. My soulmate today is my good friend Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks for coming on.
Hi.
It's her first time on a
Don't
po-
really know what to
It's
do,
her first
but
time on a podcast, and we're happy to have you. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
So we'll just
Friendship is a real gift
Yes, that's true. So
in the words of a teacher.
So enough burying the lead. Today's episode is gonna be a retrospective of the seminal 90s sitcom Boy Meets World. This show was created by Michael Jacobs and April Kelly. It originally ran on the ABC network from September 24th, 1993, ending on May 5th, 2000, for a grand total of 7 seasons. I don't know exactly how many episodes, but you got the Wikipedia up on there, Andrew? I'm just curious, do we know exactly how many episodes there are of Boy Meets World?
No.
there's like 23 episodes a season.
Season. So, I mean, upwards of 200 for sure. It looks. Oh, really?
158.
Oh, only
One
158.
158.
Okay.
158
Yeah,
is the
that tracks.
amount.
Seven seasons. So this show, for those of you who haven't seen it, and I really hope that if you haven't, you do, or if you have and you're just here to strap yourself in, you probably know all this already. It's a coming of age story about a boy in Philadelphia named Cory Matthews as he grows up and learns a lot of lessons about himself, the world, his family, his friends, chiefly with the help of his mentor slash next door neighbor, Mr. Feeney. And it's really just a awesome coming of age story, I would say. And you get him falling in love with his with Topanga Lawrence, who he kind of hates at first, and then the continuity is not of this show is not known for consistent continuity, but we'll get to that.
It's okay. It was
Yeah,
weekly TV, and
yeah, that's true.
we got to see them grow up,
That's true.
and that was
Yeah.
and they and I don't know. I was not too much younger than them, but
Hmm.
still younger enough
Yeah.
to appreciate
Yeah.
and relate to it later on.
Yeah. So
You
for
know.
sure, like the core of the growing up is done by Cory, his best friend Sean Hunter, who's kind of on his own trajectory. Comes from a different kind of family. His first slash mostly only loved Topanga Lawrence and his older brother Eric. So that's kind of the core four, if you had to kind of put it that way.
Hmm.
Like how the Justice League has like Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, and everyone kind of just happens around them. We get other people who kind of come in and out of the show, but it kind of mostly centers on them. That's one thing that I did want to that really struck me as I was rewatching stuff to prepare for this episode is that every season it's almost like a soft reboot of the show. It's like every season's kind of a different show entirely. What do you guys think about that? Is that an accurate statement?
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
You said it so nicely.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been thinking about this a lot too. I think what kind of set in um this was one I think this was honestly the first like live action TV show, like certainly sitcom that I really latched onto and gravitated towards as a kid. Like once I saw that they started running reruns on Disney Channel, I made sure I'd caught it every single day because they would
Hmm.
just show like 2 or 3 episodes at a time. Do you remember that, Vanessa? When they first started running that,
Mm-hmm.
and I would, yeah, I didn't miss for the most part. once I jumped in, I don't think I missed a single episode. But now that I'm looking back on it, it honestly is kind of a nice mirror of how I kind of feel like adolescence actually is, um, compared to sitcoms about young adults where they all kind of mostly stay the same throughout every year of your life. I would say, especially once you get into say middle school, it's almost like a totally new start. Your clothes are different, you look different, your voice changes, your friend group might look kind of different. There might be people you're only friends with for a few months at a time, and then life happens and people go their separate ways. So I actually kind of think that's a nice alternative way to look at it rather than just to say they just kept changing stuff because for the sake of changing stuff.
Yeah, I never got the impression they intentionally like screwed up their stories or continuity, but
Mm-hmm.
it stood out a little more, I think, than I'm sure they would have liked to. I can't think of too many examples of it,
Yeah.
but um, no, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
adolescent. Um, it's so relatable. It's a relatable show to I don't know. It was one of those shows that I guess it was like the first show that I liked that wasn't like a cartoon or a super kid show.
Yeah, totally.
Like when I first saw it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like when I first saw it, they were already maybe season 3. So it was like I was able to follow it a little bit, and then like you said with the Disney Channel release, yeah, I saw it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
How
it
did
was
how
kind of
did
like watching Nick at
mm-hmm.
Night.
How did you find the show, Vanessa?
I don't know. I feel like I did a lot of stuff that my cousins were doing
Right, you
because I
have
have
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
older
older
cousins.
cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So I would watch this. I would watch like Family Matters and all those type of shows, like Step by Step,
Yeah.
and watch a lot of it in like middle school and like the 3, 4 o'clock ABC
Hmm.
Family stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was part of that
So yeah.
very iconic TGIF lineup on ABC. So as you mentioned, yeah, like a lot of shows came out, came in and out of that lineup, like Family Matters,
But like Sabrina, was
Step by Step.
Sabrina on
Yeah,
that?
Sabrina. Yeah, ABC. That's why we
Mm-hmm.
had. That's why there was like a weird Salem
Yeah.
cameo in one episode. There
It
was
was
the
like
occasional
Salem
crossover.
and Sabrina.
Yeah, and then like there was a Step by Step thing too. One of the daughters from Step by Step was in their Disney episode, and I didn't. It totally makes sense that every sitcom that had a Disneyland or Disney World episode was an ABC show because they're owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So that's they bankrolled all that. That was just a 30-minute long commercial. Except my least favorite of those was Full House because like Michelle was acting like a little asshole the entire time. And Stephanie was just really feeling the middle child syndrome. But we're not here to talk about Full House. We're here to talk about Boy Meets World. So I'm gonna get off of that high horse. Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of do kind of a survey of the seasons and just see where the conversation goes from there. Talking about favorite moments, kind of story and character arcs, because I mean everyone really kind of, as much as it's a sitcom and everybody sort of has their shtick and their traits and their tropes, I do think everyone kind of changes in different ways just depending on the season. So without further ado, shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. So season one, I would say, is the most kid friendly season for sure because the characters like Cory and Sean are only in the sixth grade. I think it's supposed to be like they're probably in one of those like K through 6 schools. And every episode is pretty. There's a formula pretty much. I just wrote down Cory doesn't understand something, then he understands it just a little bit better. Credits. I think that's pretty much every
Yes.
episode.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think season 1 is hella funny, but I remember just when I was a little older and
Mm-hmm.
the reruns were on, like you said, Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm.
When they got around to the rotation of the season 1,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, man, I can't watch Boy Meets World for like 2 weeks because I'm gonna
I
watch.
gotta wait. I gotta wait
I don't
this
want to
out.
watch the kid episodes. Yeah. But no, there's like moments that you remember like
Mm-hmm.
pretty well, like when she handcuffs him and kisses him, and
Mm-hmm.
Topanga kisses Cory, or like just Minkus, his whole presence. I thought he was pretty cool. He
Yeah.
was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
How he just like stands up to everybody.
Yeah, so he's
Kind
the
of
yeah he's the so they have this character Stuart Minkus who is he's only in the first season, but he's sort of like the foil. He's kind of the whipping boy for Cory and Sean, just because he's the
hmm
smart kid and kind of like the class suck up. But I actually like him, because he doesn't take any shit. That's
I missed
Yeah,
him.
he's more
yeah
of a rival.
yeah. Yeah, especially because he's like he has a crush on Topanga. Like, not I wasn't gonna say not to, but yeah, he's totally friend zoned by Topanga pretty much the whole
But he
time.
thinks he has it like in the
Yeah,
bag.
yeah,
It's so weird.
because he reads Perky magazine. Remember?
It's very much Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin style.
I guess, yeah.
Their rivalry.
Battling of wits for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And then there was always one thing I actually read. This is really fucking funny for me, and like I think once you hear this, you won't be able to unsee it. So apparently, Sean didn't have a name until the fourth season, or sorry, fourth episode. But not only that, so there was always Cory and Sean, and there was always a scene of them just like talking in the cafeteria at their lunch table. But for maybe the first third of that first season, there's always some random third kid friend.
Yes.
You notice
Yeah,
that?
I
Yeah.
recall that.
Like, so
Yeah.
sometimes like one of the kids was Yaya from Sandlot,
Okay.
Yes.
the one who's like, she bought me a discus. But yeah, so sometimes it was him, and then I think maybe they brought a couple of black kids in too. But I think what
They
happened,
had like 2 or 3.
yeah. So I think what happened, they said that they wanted Cory to have two best friends, and he had really good chemistry with Ryder Strong. Apparently, Ryder Strong was the first and only person to audition for Sean. Like, he was so good that they just gave it to him out the gate. But they were like, no, I think we want a third friend. So they just kept trying out different kids to see who would stick, and then eventually they're like, nah, what's cool, it's just Cory and Sean. But so they called it like the chair of death, because they were like, well, who's going to be sitting with us this time? And then I think that's why in like the latter half of the season, you just see more like they're just interacting with Minkus more, and he's kind of the person for like exposition or sending them on their way to whatever the episode is, whatever's going to happen in the episode. So yeah, that's always and the clothes. And I don't think there's not enough talk about the clothes that they wear in that first season. It's
Well, there's this. Speaking of clothes, I was
Yeah.
gonna bring this up. There's this shirt that Sean Hunter wears, and he wears it for at least I don't know how many seasons it goes through, but hella episodes. And it looks like it's like a cross. It's like this, but I don't know what the picture is. I can never find the design of the shirt. It looks like Jesus or something, but like the design is like black, red, and like the figure is like white.
yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it because it's in like way more than one episode.
Yeah.
Like I always wondered what that shirt was, but I could never like I never figured out what was on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
All I noticed was
Yeah.
that their clothes are always so huge.
Yeah, like really oversized and just
Yeah.
very like loud, pastel-y kind of clothes and whatnot. The other thing that I think
I really remember
Go ahead.
the Phillies jersey that he would wear
Mm-hmm.
and the hat.
Mhm.
I just like you said, it was so oversized.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Ducks jersey for a bit.
He did? Really?
Mm.
Oh,
I think Cory was wearing it.
good pick. Good pick out. And I think one thing and a couple of things happen here. And one thing that I think distinguishes this season is you get a lot more of Cory's family, like the Matthews family at large, gets a lot more screen time and sort of like part of the story, particularly with like for Morgan 1.
I love Morgan One.
She's so cute, dude. Like she doesn't. Nobody. The thing is like Cory's kind of an idiot. I mean, like he's not stupid, but he's very ignorant for most of like he's either very ignorant or just very naive, and kind of everyone around him is sort of putting him in his place in one way or the other, kind of just like dropping signs on him. So even his 4-year-old sister isn't taking any mess. So you gotta respect that.
It was a lot of like dad-centric episodes
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Like when he kept him up late to watch the no-hitter, the
And then
water
little
gun.
gloves.
Oh yeah, the silver gloves. hmm I think my favorite of that season is when they think that their parents are cheating on each other.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Mom was with another guy. With another guy.
I seem to remember like a lot of. Since I didn't go back and watch it, but for some reason I remember like a lot of scenes with that involved the window, like in Cory's room. Like they're
Oh,
always doing
looking out
something
the
at the
window.
window.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
there
or
was the
like
treehouse
throwing
outside.
something.
Uh huh.
For some
He had a
reason,
lot of
the
like
window.
he was there a lot because he was just kind of contemplating his life every time like things went wrong.
That's true.
Hmm.
The room was his like safe space.
Yeah.
It was that in his treehouse.
Yeah, the treehouse was only I think like the first few episodes, and then he was never really in there anymore. Uh,
But you could like
yeah.
kind of still, you still kind of know it's there
Oh yeah,
throughout
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
So I think they do go back up into it at least
Mhm.
once. Like
Mhm.
maybe the dad sits in it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe Eric does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So we can talk about and like how and Eric is such a different character in that first season. He's just like
He's normal Eric.
he's just normal and he's just constantly just macking on girls, like he gets to I'm trying to think who ultimately got to kiss more girls, him or Sean. I think Sean just because like the show ultimately focused more like on his love life and stuff, but he kind of had that first
Eric had a couple repeats.
repeat girls that he
Hmm.
really I thought it was always kind of different every time.
No, I remember that girl that he said "I love you" to. She was there
Mhm.
a couple times.
Mhm.
Mm. He also made out with Jennifer Love
I think
Hewitt on
He
the
did.
Scream
He
episode.
did. He got
Feffy.
to. He got
He just
yeah.
like
So he got to
forced
kiss.
himself. Like he just did it right away.
Well, they were dating in
I
real
don't
life,
know,
so
man.
it's okay. I believe you. So yeah, he got to
Some fourth wall
kiss.
breaking.
He got to kiss Jennifer Love Hewitt. He got to. Did he kiss Kerry Russell? I think because she was Feeney's niece. Though they might have kissed. He also got to make out with
Mm.
Connie from the Mighty Ducks, season
Oh yeah, the
2.
earring episode.
Yes, yes. Oh, we're gonna get ahead of ourselves a little bit, but yeah. So you have Eric, and he's just working at his dad's supermarket, and everything like that. I'd say the most important episode for the first season though is because it really just sets up a dynamic that you see throughout the rest of the show going forward, is where Cory has to decide whether he's gonna cover up for Sean after he blows up the mailbox with the cherry bomb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
my god, that
Yeah,
was a great one.
that was scary. I was like, "What's happening? It's rainy. He's coming in, and he wants to cover for him." Like, I don't know what I would do. I think sometimes we have friends, and yeah, I think his dad kind of tells him, sometimes you do have friends who are gonna be in a little bit more riskier stuff than you, and you have to decide like how are you gonna show up for them. And I'm like, that's a really good point. Like things are never as simple or as black and white or anything
Hmm.
like that. Yeah.
I think before that though, Corey was kind of a bad influence on Sean.
I would say he's definitely louder. That's one thing that really sticks out to me is how loud, like maybe because it's like pre-puberty or like going through puberty, but the way he plays Corey, it's just I feel like he's like shouting most of that first season. Isn't that what it sounds like to any
He
of you guys?
I think the Savage brothers have a yelling problem
That's
when they're
true.
kids.
That's
To
true.
be honest with you.
Yes, so Ben Savage is the brother of Fred Savage, star of The Wonder Years, another seminal coming of age uh, show that we
Yes.
will be covering at some point. But you are right, that is kind of the family acting style, I would say. If he studied under his older brother, what can you do? But yeah, so I don't really have too much else to say about season 1 because I know there's so much more fun to be had. So if you
Hmm.
guys don't mind, if
I
any,
did you
agree.
guys
Let's
like
let's.
Jason?
oh okay, oh yeah, Andrew,
We
you
were
had some
texting
thoughts
about
about
that.
Jason. So yeah,
I
Eric had a
well.
best friend, Jason, played by Jason Marsden, who was the voice of like Max on Goofy from Goofy movie. That was sort of his other claim to fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was
I
also
thought
dating his
every
boyfriend.
I thought every character in Boy Meets World, like the whole series, like I didn't have any problem with any of them, but like a few of them, like Jason, felt slightly just out of place. Like he looked a little too old to me to be in
That's
high
I
school.
guess he had sort of that
Even
mullet kind of
but
going
like
on.
Kiner, but even the Kiner was like old. He looked hella old, but
But that was supposed to be the
you kind
character
of
though. Like
yeah, exactly.
he's the lifer
Um,
bully, Yeah.
he was just like a little too whiny for me, but I
Yeah.
did like him. Like I didn't have a problem with him. It was just
Yeah.
um
My note says
yeah
annoying and manipulative.
yeah.
He was just an opportunist, I think he just wanted the best for he just wanted Eric to capitalize on the opportunities in front of him, and then he eventually tried to do it too with that. What's the name of that girl from Georgia? Desiree, I think it was.
Oh God, her.
How's my little
Goodbye
Georgia
kiss.
Georgia peach?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, the zoom dropped out, but I think we're doing okay right now, so we'll just keep it going. But
Yeah.
yeah,
If you are you able to put it back on
I
or
don't know. We'll see. Um,
okay.
Good question. If you guys just want to click on the link again, we'll see. And you're seeing our troubleshooting in real time, but we'll just keep it going either way.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts on season one before we move on to season two?
Uh
I'm okay.
Okay, all right. So, season
yeah.
two has them move from sixth grade into high school because I don't know. Apparently, some high schools start in seventh grade. I don't know. Maybe they did at some point. Maybe they still do elsewhere. So, anyway, Sean, Cory, and Topanga move into high school, John Adams High. Mr. Feeney, who they think they're leaving behind, turns out to be their principal. And I just have it here in all caps. Now we're a 90s teen sitcom because this season, this is honestly probably one of my favorite seasons. It's just fun. Um, there's the occasional standalone, more kind of serious storyline, but it's just really about. I feel like this season's really just about Cory and Sean's never ending quest for popularity and social acceptance and trying to meet girls and score with chicks and things like that. So it's just really fun.
Yeah, and you get to like see Sean's family too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
they
They
introduced the
introduce his
dad and
dad. Yeah.
um Eric I think is graduated or no, that's his last year. I think he's a senior that
He's a
year.
he's a junior. This is him
Okay.
trying to pick his grades up a little bit more.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then he and Mr. Feeney just has him do like these. I don't know. It's like has him do these missions,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know these little assignments,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like life assignments. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Um, and like Eric's always
My
frustrated.
favorite thing of season 2 is Harley.
I was gonna say, so he's
Or Harvey.
absolutely Harvey. Yeah. So wait, let's backtrack. I think we're all in agreement that the secret sauce of season one is original Morgan.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah,
say there's a
I
pretty
agree.
unanimous there. She just got a lot of great
She's a
one-liners.
she's a contender moving forward
She
too.
could she could
Like I
absolutely give Michelle Tanner a run for her money. Um, but yeah, season two we introduce more. There's just a lot. It's a real revolving door of characters. It feels a little bit more lived in terms of who they're interacting with. But we have these recurring bullies. And I think that's actually why they got rid of Minkus is because they wanted to instead show that Sean and Cory are the ones getting bullied now. So we have basically like a small mafia at the school consisting of Frankie Stachino, aka Ethan Suplee, aka Willem from Mallrats, um, and
I
Joey
think
the
he was
Rat.
also in the Butterfly Effect.
Yes, he was in the
Yes.
Butterfly Effect as what else? He was also in Remember the Titans. Um, and My Name is Earl with Jason Lee. We got Joey the Rat, who I think is in an indie. He stopped acting and started up a really successful indie rock band called Rilo Kiley with another former child actor. So that's pretty cool. And Harley Kiner, who is always squinting and kind of acting is about choices, right? Isn't that what they always say? And this dude just like chewed all the scenery. Like he's like squinting. He's like always kind of like pursing his lips together while he talks, and it's kind of soft spoken, but
He's
you
a
still think
greaser.
he'll kick your ass. Yeah, it's really great. It's really great.
Well, he's also. I mean, it's a stage show, so I wonder
Yeah,
who this. Like, I'm gonna look up his.
Michael Jacobs.
Is that his name?
Yeah, the creator.
No,
The
the guy
actor.
who played Harley.
His
Yeah,
name was Danny McNulty.
Danny McNulty.
Yeah,
I'm interested to know what else he did
yeah. So,
because
hmm
that's what you just described is like, I don't know, like high school theater 101.
yeah, that's the thing too. Like Andrew, you were telling me the other day, you feel like like sometimes watching this show, it just feels like you're watching like a really funny play
Yeah,
at certain respects.
I don't. I'm not sure if I had said that, but for sure, I
Something along
agree.
those lines. My bad, but yeah. Um, who was your favorite of that trio, Vanessa? Harley, Joey, and Frankie.
It's between Harley and Frankie.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I think maybe Frankie because he was on for longer.
That's true. You saw more of him, and you could tell like he was really sensitive, but just didn't like having to be the big enforcer bully. the first
He's
thing.
very profound.
Him
Everything
Very
he
his
said was
poetry.
so deep.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I like it, for me. It's either the Rat or Harley,
Mm-hmm.
because they just have like their responses, or even Frankie too. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, they have like the best responses to like questions that are obviously stupid
Mm-hmm.
in their perception.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Corey's dating TK,
Yeah.
and then I guess
Oh my
Harley
god.
confronts him in the hallway,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, are we good?" He's like, "No," and just stuff like that. It
Uh-huh.
used to kill me. Um, then it's full of that.
There's an episode I think where he's like saying he's gonna go see Frankie's poetry reading, and Corey's like, Frank, like Harley, you like poetry? He's like, what? You think a guy like me doesn't have a sensitive side? I gotta smack you around for that. It's so simple, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I was gonna say like, there's a very small club of people who'd be like, yes, I was a one-time girlfriend character on Boy Meets World, and I think this season just like per capita had the most of them. I
Like
think
Hmm.
Wendy.
which one? Oh, the girl. Oh yeah, the girl who like plotted out Corey's whole future and everything. Corey and hers whole future.
Yes.
And
Started out with the
yeah,
roles.
that's it. They want you to take the roles. Even Mina Suvari from American Pie was in it. Did you see that shit, Andrew?
Wait, who?
Mina Suvari, who was so the girl that Oz dates in American Pie.
Oh
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
noticed it
She in
a
the
long time ago.
the
I
role,
don't,
and she
but
looks
I have to see
exactly
it
the same.
again.
She looks exactly the same.
she went on that date with that double with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sean and Eric.
Yeah, because he was too embarrassed to actually like bring Corey, and then they went and like rode the roller coaster to show that they weren't dangerous and stuff. Um,
Okay.
mhm.
Okay, I gotta check that out again.
And actually, in terms of mentor characters, we how could we forget the other main addition to the cast, Mr. Turner,
Yeah,
or
I was gonna bring him
as
up,
Corey and
Jonathan
Sean
Turner.
call him, Feeny with an earring, or as I like to call him, the guy who I think auditioned for Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles but didn't get the part, so we got him in Boy Meets World instead.
That's pretty funny. Norm Macdonald's younger brother.
Oh, that too. That too. But yeah, what did you guys think of Mr. Turner as sort of a foil, like of just the cool version of Mr. Feeney, pretty much?
I liked him. He reminds me. He kind of like when I'm, working and I have to talk like that in the middle of my class to
Mm-hmm.
like children.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually something that I think Jonathan Turner would say.
Yeah, like
It's
where
usually some kind of like smart, snappy remark,
that's true. Like
but
he's just as
very kind.
just as sarcastic as the kids, but
Yeah.
he's the teacher, so it's okay.
Or it's
Yeah, I like him too,
I
yeah.
think of. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was
I
just
was thinking
to
of
say,
the.
like, he wanted to be the teacher, but he also related to them at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah, doesn't Sean stay with him? Or
Yeah,
takes
he
Sean
becomes
into his
like
home?
Sean's guardian when Chet takes off, and because it's just easier to have Sean be kind of from a broken home, so they did. That's one less adult that they had to pay, I guess, to be on
Mm.
the show. So
Maybe they were filming Waterboy or something at that time.
maybe who knows? Who knows? That's a good question. That's a good point. Who else? And any particular episodes stand out from season two?
Oh, I have like a random note on here from
Please,
season
please. We
two.
love random notes.
Like, have you guys noticed how many times that sign changed on that door
Oh
in the end
yeah,
of the hallway?
Andrew, have you noticed that?
Which
So,
sign?
go ahead, Vanessa. Yeah, go ahead. Break it down.
It was like the boys' bathroom, the girls' bathroom, Feeney's office.
Oh,
One
yeah,
time it
yeah.
was like the counselor's
Guidance
office.
counselor's office. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I got you.
Hmm.
I, I noticed that. I think it was in one episode. Like there was someone coming. Like it was like a boy and a girl came out of the same door or the same from the same direction.
Hmm.
Yeah, in the phone booth is right there.
Hmm.
That's what else?
I'm always partial. I think one of my favorite episode I think is when they pretend to be in a band just to meet chicks. I think that might be my favorite. The exits. He just keeps a tuna.
Wasn't the guy that gave him the guitar the replacement Harley
Oh,
later on?
okay, yeah. So we'll just get into that a little bit. So the whole Harley of it all was very interesting. So there was one episode where I believe it's the episode where Sean decides that he just needs to be bad now because a girl called him trash or something like that, or white trash or something. So then he starts hanging out with Harley, but then Harley and his crew, but it was a different Harley, and he wasn't as like, hey, what are you doing? Like he was just this like hot. He just looked like this hot dude. But I looked into it. So what happened is apparently, so Danny McNulty, the original Harley, actually suffered from bipolar disorder, and I think he had like a breakdown in the middle of filming an episode, so he sat that one out,
Mm.
and they just got some other dude temporarily, and then he came back in. But then, yeah. So another thing that happens a lot on this show is they'll bring back actors to play multiple parts. So that guy who gave Cory the guitar, that was actually Adam Scott from Parks and Rec. And but he then
Oh yeah, his name is
plays,
Griff.
yeah, he
He
plays
plays
Griff, but
Griff.
he wasn't Griff in that episode. Then they brought him back later as more of like a slicker. He's almost like Spicoli in Fast Times, Andrew, because like he has like he gets pizza. I think he actually does get pizza delivered to him in class, or he has a masseuse come to massage him in the middle of Mr. Feeney's class, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's like a little more like slick and smooth, and a little bit more menacing because like he has like just these really like intense eyes. There's a lot of people, like before they blew up that kind of came through Boy Meets World, so it's kind of cool to see that. I think it was a really early stepping stone for a lot of people. Um, yeah, so let's see. Any other season 2 remarks? We're actually going at a pretty good clip right now. I'm liking where it's going.
I'm just
Not
looking
really.
at the page. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, because the really interesting stuff happens around like season 4 or 5, so we're definitely. I think we're just warming up to get to that point. All right, so going into season 3, where it's still a little bit more of the same, just high school hijinks, but then you see Cory and Topanga get together. I think that's one of the main things. What do I have for this season here? I would say you see more storylines with Eric and Cory. Like they start to bring them together more.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They go on a road trip, right?
That's at the end.
Eventually.
Yeah, that's at the
Yeah.
end.
That was
Was that season or season 4?
That was the season. They go on the road trip in the finale, and then the season 4
Okay.
premiere is the wrap up of that story.
Oh, that's when he doesn't want to go home,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes like their dynamic. I don't think they always had the best chemistry. Going back and watching Eric and Cory together,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, uh, good story arc.
I think that sort of serviced their characters though, because I think they play that up more. Because
Mm-hmm.
he's scared that Corey's scared that Eric's going off to college, and he's like, I never really got a chance to know you, and now I never will. And it's just because like I said, it's a sitcom, and sometimes characterizations would just be very convenient for whatever the story needed. But if you look at it from that angle, I think it makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Um, but in later seasons, you get to, I think and they address it in later seasons too, sort of like the rifts between them, or not even the rifts, but just kind of like the disconnects.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's pretty consistent throughout the whole show. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not best buds, but it's not like they don't like each other or
Yeah, there's
anything.
there's a mutual respect, but of course there's just the boundary, there's the lines
Mm-hmm.
and stuff between them.
Like
Um,
sometimes you forget
mhm,
that like when like later on I think you kind of forget that they're brothers
mhm.
at some points.
Yeah,
Or
well,
you're
and
not
then
always
yeah, then they
thinking
kind of
about
just
it.
go more in their own directions and everything. Um, so I would say here I do have one kind of thing to just get into with season 3. This was this featured Cory and Topanga's first breakup, which in retrospect sound kind of comes off really stupid, but I'm like in the context of well they're in 8th grade, so that tracks. So they're together for 5 months, and at that point then they feel like they're in a rut, and they both wind up going to another school's dance pretending to be different people, but they find each other out. And I just remember watching that at 9 years old, and that shit wrecked me. Like they go their separate ways, and then one of them runs off, and he's like, "Topanga, I think we're making a big mistake." And then sees they're not there. Then Cory turns away, and then Topanga's like, Cory, wait, do you think maybe we should? And doesn't see him, and then they go their separate ways. And there's an Art Garfunkel song for some reason afterward to a montage of all of their. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is 2.5 seasons in, and we're getting a breakup. We're getting a freaking breakup montage. Like, what's happening?
That's
So
their that was their Wonder Years attempt.
there was, and but I was again. I was in the third grade when I saw that, and I think maybe that was my first time seeing anyone break up, real or fictional. I mean, probably besides my parents' divorce, but that yeah. So that got me.
Do you guys remember like when you first heard that term, like break up, or like oh they broke up? It might have been from like this show.
It was definitely from
for
TV.
me.
Probably this show. This I mean
Probably,
this
yeah.
this was such a primer of like adolescence and things that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really invested in the Cory Topanga dynamic and wasn't sure. I think I missed some episodes in between because I don't really remember a whole lot from when they break up, and then I feel like just a short time later I saw them get back together in Disney World, even though the whole time Joey from 10 Things I Hate About You was trying to get it in with Topanga.
I don't know. This season, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, so share your thoughts with that. I'm curious to see as to why.
I don't know. Like, the first 2 seasons when I was watching it, I was, like, really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got together, and then, I don't know. It was just like, okay, I'm just watching this just to watch it.
There's not as much that I remember quite so well. Yeah, I think it was like a more transitional sort of season. Because I think what I really enjoyed about season 2 is just Cory and Sean as the underdogs, and they're everything's always kind of blowing up in their face. But here it's more just things get. It's sort of just still like, oh, the Sean and Turner trying to get used to be living with each other, or Eric and Feeney had a thing, or Sean and
like it gets better towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But the middle of it was just boring.
It was kind of a slog, I will say that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really care about it until that episode you recommended to me, Michael, the Last Temptation of Cory.
Oh right, yeah, where Cory kisses
that's where
the
it kind of
president's-
gets. Yeah, that's where it kind of gets like, oh, okay, this is a little more, it's a little more edgy now. It's getting spicy. Because like at the end of that episode, I like you look at Topanga and you're like, oh, you're so stupid. Don't do it. Don't take him back.
We're just getting started with the Cory and Topanga of it all. Vanessa, did you realize right away that was the president's daughter in that episode?
Yes.
Yes, I was really confused when I saw that.
Yes.
I'm like, is this allowed? Is that on Disney Plus? I haven't seen that movie in years. I did with the President's Daughter.
So.
I think it's on YouTube though, in like 10 parts. But
And then
we got those
get
obscure
new Morgan
pages.
in this season.
sorry, go ahead, Vanessa. What did you say?
We get new Morgan.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So let's talk about that. So in the grand tradition of many '90s sitcoms, there's a lot of just recasting that goes on. Most prominent of which is we get one Morgan, and then we get Morgan 2. And you guys remember like how they explained it away?
They literally just were like, "Oh, long time no see. She's been on a timeout."
Yeah, she's like, "That's the longest timeout I've ever had." And this Morgan was like, she still gave her brother shit, but she was a lot more aggressive about it, I would say. So it's still funny, but just barely there. But I did notice how how in above their fireplace there's a family picture, and it's from season 1. But for a while, I think for maybe at least a whole good first season, or a whole season from when they introduced the second Morgan, they just conveniently move a plant so that it's covering the first Morgan's face in the picture until they took a different picture to replace it.
Nice.
Oh, all right, good for you guys. Good for you guys.
Very subtle.
That's some real good production design.
Those are things you don't think about.
Yeah, I noticed so much more this time.
I'm glad you
around.
noticed that.
Yeah, and Topanga had fucking 3 dads. Like they got Aunt Viv beat.
What are the names of her mom?
Topanga starts out very hippy dippy.
Started out as Chloe.
So her name was Chloe, and then we just went to Rhiannon for some reason. Yeah.
Oh, there's a third name, isn't there?
No,
Because
no, no.
there's like a scene where Corey calls her like, "Oh, Topanga of." Then he like says a different ass name.
She had a well, no, she had an older sister, Nebula. Is that what you're talking about, or
Oh
No, no.
yeah,
There's
Nebula
an
stop the
episode.
war.
Yeah,
Nebula
there's
stuff
that. But
Lawrence? Yeah.
there's an episode I was watching it. I forgot what he says, but he like refers to her. He like insults her, but so he calls her like a royal name. But
Oh,
he
okay.
like
It sounds
how
familiar.
like my dad's name is Richard, so it'd be like,
Hmm.
oh, Andrew, son of Richard. So he
Uh
like
huh.
called Topanga,
Oh.
daughter of, and then he
Oh,
said some
Wow.
other woman's name.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was though.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna look for it right now, but I guarantee it because I just watched it.
I like how her dad during career day calls her Tippy for short. Fucking Doug. But yeah, so she has three dads. We'll get to that. So her first dad is a member of the Monkees, and then the guy from Spinal Tap, and then is just if you guys saw Jurassic Park 3, he's the guy that goes parasailing with the kid who gets lost in the movie, and that's why they go to the island.
ah,
But yeah, she like her dad. It's like they're like kind of meh. The first two dads are kind of meh, and then the third dad is just this like really hot square jawed guy. So good for her, I guess. I did say one thing, and again, I think season 3 and 4 were kind of a turd, just sort of a what do they call them in baseball? Building years, shall we say? um, so I feel like another thing we get in season 3 is sort of the beginning of like the more neurotic side of Corey, like who's not really concerned with trying to be cool anymore, but is just really paranoid about a lot of things, and that's my favorite Corey. But we get
mm-hmm.
way more of that as we keep going.
Oh yeah, like when he straightens his hair by accident.
Yeah.
Is that season 3?
That's season 1. That's when Topanga kisses him for the first
Is that
time.
season 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the most
What the
like
fuck?
Topanga
Supposed
centric
to fix
episode.
it.
All right.
Yeah. Because he thought some girls were calling him a Brillo head.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Season 3 was kind of boring. I think there's good moments, but
Mhm.
as far as like full episodes,
Mhm.
season 4 is like where
If
it's at.
well, if season 3 is a
Or
little
5.
boring, I'd say season 5 really hits its stride when the show really hits its sweet spot. Because season
Hmm.
4, I don't really know what was happening with the writers, but so many of those episodes were just like unnecessarily dark, or just a little
Mm-hmm.
too
Yeah.
much. So yeah, this is like, let's get into a little bit of this. So we have a very special child abuse episode where Sean is protecting the girl from Jurassic Park.
Oh my god, that is her.
It's totally her. So she's really good at looking very scared and vulnerable because, she left us. um, we have Eric dating a woman with a kid,
Hmm.
and it's the kid from Liar Liar. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Justin Cooper, one of the best mushroom cuts in child actor history. I would say I would definitely give that to him. Really cute
Jesus
kid.
Christ.
Um, let's
Oh, we have
see.
the cult episode.
Oh yeah, fuck it. Let's get into it.
Oh,
Sean
yes.
joined a cult. Wait,
Are you
wait.
centered?
Are we centered enough to do this? Oh my god, where do we start?
Oh man.
This
I totally
episode,
forgot. I
yeah.
forgot about that, Michael, and I had to like just send that to you when I watched it.
Hmm.
I think I was like, Michael, are you centered?
How about that? So Sean, in his lack of belief system, and after a lot of after just an unexplained absence, Turner's there with a haircut. He looks like he's bulked up, and he's like, Sean, what do you believe in, man? He's like, maybe I don't believe in anything. So then Sean joins this cult because this really skinny chick from his class just recruits him with hugs, and then he joins this cult led by Mr. Mac.
um, and it's funny how like you said they recruited him. They didn't
Mhm.
want to take Corey.
Yeah. Oh,
No
no,
matter
they
how
didn't
hard
want
he
to
tried.
take. They didn't want to take
They didn't want
Eric
Eric.
Oh,
because
Eric, right,
Eric
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
insincere. He was just in it for the hugs.
The hugs. Right? Yeah, it was Eric. um, is that did something else happen in that episode too? Was there like another storyline simultaneously happening
Well,
that was
it's
preoccupying Sean,
That's Turner's
like with his
accident
dad?
episode.
no.
Okay,
Yeah. It's
okay.
just
There
Turner's
we go. There we
accent.
go.
Yeah.
It's all kind of jumbled
And
to me.
then yeah, Ryder Strong just rocking a praying to God monologue like he was going for the Oscar.
or the Tony, or the Emmy,
Yeah, Emmy. Yeah, daytime Emmy or weeknight
There
Emmy.
you go.
Um,
Um, yeah, to me that's such a good episode. I think maybe not to the extreme, but we all like kind of deal with stuff like that. Kind of just follow the. Like if you find some outcasts or you find like some kind of different opinion that's not the norm, and it really sticks with you, could be dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like so it would often just be such a shift, and you'd notice it because there's less of a laugh track and whatnot. But the darker episodes, I feel like because you care about the characters so much, even when the things that are happening are so exceptionally kind of corny or out there, you're kind of with it because you just want them to be okay. You want them to be
Yeah.
alright. Yeah, yeah. Um, so that's kind of, and what I realized was I don't really know about the cameras that they used to shoot like sitcoms and whatnot, but as far as 90s sitcoms go, this one was shot kind of like a soap opera with one of the, you know what I'm talking, you guys, because you guys have seen soap operas before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what makes the more serious scenes kind of makes me just sort of dial in a little bit more.
Maybe it's the hospital.
Yeah, that
Maybe
too.
that's what
Yeah,
you're like
it
kind
is
of putting together.
that's true. Good point. Good point.
um, but you're right. There's like an ambiance to it where it
Mm-hmm.
is kind of it's like not calm, but it's almost very quiet.
Yeah, there's more of a solemn thing where you're just in it more, which is because it doesn't look at like film. I think is the point where like 'cause some
Right.
sitcoms, especially in
Um,
the '90s, started to shoot with those kinds of cameras and stuff. Um, what was I gonna say? I gotta give a shout out to I think my favorite just dive in episode of that season is Shallow Boy, where
yes.
Eric gets Alanis Morissette or he gets You Oughta Knowed.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dandelions. Let's see. But that's oh, shoot.
And then and that's when Topanga's babysitting,
Yes, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was pretty hard to watch. That kid was pissing me off.
Yeah, I think it was the kid from Jingle All. You guys, I think it's the kid from Jingle All the Way where, he tries to get the ball out of the kid's mouth in the ball pit. You know what I'm talking about?
I have to watch
Yeah,
I think that's
I
him.
remember. Is that like the slide scene?
Yeah, because it looked like the kid from Santa Claus, but it's not. I always thought it was the kid from the Santa Claus, but it clearly isn't. And I haven't seen this. Yeah, there's just a lot of like mic drop, boom, fuck you moments in this season. How about when like Feeney just totally drags everyone for caring more about comic books and video games than actual school? The quiz show episode.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
show, which episode
Kind
is
of
that?
They go on a quiz show and it starts out as like a very intelligent game show, and then it just becomes like some MTV bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I came across that one. I don't
Yeah,
remember it though.
yeah.
Yeah, let me look.
I like kind of sped through that episode.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know. Like I said, a lot of these just aren't really. You don't really want to go to the next episode. Like that's how I really judge these seasons. Is like, am I gonna sit down and watch all of these, or am I gonna skip around? So that's why. Yeah, season 4 is not my favorite because it's really just like choice cuts and stuff. Oh yeah.
Oh, I like
I like the
for
Chick
some
Like
reason.
Me episode.
Of course, Chick Like Me.
Chick Like Me. Which one is that one?
That's
Let me
when
look.
that's when Sean dresses as a girl
Oh.
and he learns about consent.
Yes.
And Cory as Cora. How you doing, honey?
He does that a
There's
lot,
always, like-
actually, after.
There's always like some like real Metro references to Cory, like in the whole series.
Oh yeah,
Even
no,
in
this
Girl
is
Meets World.
this is where we start to really play up the sort of like homoerotic bromance between Sean and Cory. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because of Jennifer.
yeah. That episode's amazing where they have to
Is
sneak
that
around.
the one? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love that episode. That was the one I was about to bring up, like when they're in the book stacks or the phone call. And Jesus Christ, that cinnamon rolls for me, right?
It's Cory, stop or whatever. Oh my god.
The bed and breakfast one is funny too. Like for some reason, I'm surprised I like that one
That's a good
as
one.
much. But it's a good
Yeah, I
it's a
actually
good
like that
episode
one.
for Feeny and
Oh
Eric
yeah, you
and
really get
their own bromance.
yes, absolutely. That real kind of mutual respect that comes when like as you're becoming an adult and you have like an adult to look up to.
Hmm.
And of course, we are the Timbers.
Let me
Does it
see.
even get into college at the end of that
At the end, yeah,
season?
yeah, because this is Eric's gap year season.
Is that when they go to the beach college?
Yeah, and
I like that episode too.
Cory almost gets well, a girl almost has like
Statutory rape.
revenge rebound sex with a minor. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That was wild. She kicked them out, threw the
Mhm.
TV out the window.
Mhm.
Or, um,
And that's the Thanksgiving episode. I actually liked that episode that year.
Or where they bring like the
When they,
Hunters
like-
and the Matthews together.
oh, in the trailer
Mhm.
park.
Mm.
Let me see.
Oh, the Pittsburgh episode.
Oh yeah, so this is like it's not really a breakup, but they are kind of forced apart. Can we talk about this for a little bit because it is another Cory and Topanga milestone?
It was so
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, it really is. I think on all counts, like you get it, you want them to be together, but everyone's just being really shitty. And again, just because they need sort of a narrative antagonist, they decide to make the mom, Cory's mom. And I fucking love Amy and Alan Matthews, but here it's like we're just gonna make Amy the wet blanket for 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean it's her son. Like she's super
Yeah.
protective.
That's true. That's true.
There's like I'm sure there's some Freudian things you could throw in there if you'd like
Mhm.
on why she's or like whatever her reasons are. But
Hmm.
um, what happened in the Pittsburgh episode?
So
I can't.
Topanga
really remember.
needs to
She moves, right?
Topanga moves without telling Cory or like with like 2 days notice or whatever,
Mm.
and
Oh yeah, then she comes back.
she runs away
okay.
from home because she missed
shows
Cory
up in
so
the rain.
much. Yeah, and we get one of this is just I think this was the first time Ben Savage has to rock a really schmaltzy monologue about love.
Oh yeah, that's like my
Yeah.
least favorite thing about Boy Meets World.
Is
Is Corey's like
love
true,
monologues.
the amount of times he says true love.
Mhm.
It's like almost maybe like how Tommy says man in Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
It's always Corey
Yeah.
with the love stuff.
Yes. Although, like the best.
That's the first time they acknowledge like that they haven't been together their whole lives.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
their dark years.
Yeah, which I guess they do explain away. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I remember getting shit from friends that I was spending too much time with a girl, so I stopped being her friend, and I kind of never really talked to her again after that. So I guess that does happen for people.
Hmm.
So good on you. That's what do you call it? Retcon. Yeah, good retcon. Boy Meets World writing staff.
Yeah, because I mean, even when they were in like elementary school or middle school, they weren't together.
No, not
They were
even.
just
He
in the
was.
same class.
They were in the same class, and he was always like calling her an alien and stuff.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
crush. They had a crush on each other. It's
Yeah,
not the same.
that's true. That's true.
Her and her huge hair.
Yes. Okay. Is that all we got for season 4? Any other remarks? Do we have a secret sauce, an Ed sauce for season 4? I would say it's the Eric Feeney dynamic. Those
Yeah.
I really like their
Yeah.
scenes together.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Eric, but with Feeney, of
Mhm.
course.
As he's trying to get him to get his shit together and go to college.
Mr. Matthews.
Mrs. Hunters, Mrs. Matthews, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Okay, so shall we get into I think most people would actually say this might be the best season, like pound for pound. I think
Season 5.
season 5, I think, gets the most love.
Yeah.
So
I did like season 5.
yeah, we introduce Angela, we introduce Matthew Lawrence as Jack, Sean's long lost brother, giving Eric someone to kind of play with. It's kind of replacing Jason for more or less.
Yeah. I don't always like when they add new characters to shows.
Mm-hmm.
I usually just kind of like deal with it, but like this one, Angela's super funny.
Yeah, Angela's
And-
great. The way they
and
really
Jack-
like. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh, go no, go ahead.
I was gonna say just the way they really like acknowledge the fact that she is the token black person in the whole show. She's like, Angela got an A on her essay. I was like, what's the essay about? It's like maintaining your black identity when you have 3 very white friends.
There's and also Jack was cool. I'm not a big like Lawrence Brothers nostalgic fan. But yeah,
He fit
nothing wrong with
he
him.
fit in really organically. So
Yeah,
and like I think that's you can't. I don't think you can understate that for a show where it's already been on for 5 seasons. You know.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
also appreciated they gave Sean a brother,
Mm-hmm.
because his whole thing is
An
always like
actual
worrying
brother.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's always worrying about how different he is than Corey, what he doesn't have that
Mm-hmm.
Corey has. So it's like, no, you do have that stuff. You just have
Mm-hmm.
you just don't know. You gotta
Yeah.
go do you gotta like do a little more work about it. But well, that's cool. And I remember that they were brothers a lot more often during that time than Eric and Corey. I
Yeah.
was more. I mean, that's where the stories were more focused on. But I definitely it was more. I was more aware of it.
They were constantly trying to like figure out their relationship more actively, whereas they would do it maybe once a season if we're lucky with Corey and Eric, so it would just come out of
Hmm.
super left field a little bit. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like again, just
How
they gave it
many
their due.
siblings did Sean have before
Oh,
Jack?
because they said, remember, yeah, like he
He had a
has.
sister, right?
They said he had a sister. We never saw her, and that's where the hair products came from. And then there's the episode where Corey runs afoul of Sean's other brother or half brother at the trailer park, who punches him in the stomach because he's like stealing electronics or whatever.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot about that
but
one.
that was it. But they never. But then when Jack comes in, they treat it like Sean has been alone this whole time and always wanted a brother. I always wondered what he was like, and then it turns out that Jack's Jack's mom pulled a notebook and hid all of the letters Sean sent him for 15 weeks or a year or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool that they knew each other already too.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
it just got revealed
Yeah.
randomly and they knew that they were there.
Well,
So
they crammed a lot of story. There was no wasted time in any of these 22 minutes. They really very efficient storytelling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, without further ado, shall we get into the L word? And I'm not talking about love. I'm talking about Lauren.
Oh,
Oh, her.
So this is Cory and Topanga breakup
I like
number 3.
her. I like her.
I liked her too.
I love Linda Cardellini, so it was really hard for me to be like, this home wrecking bitch. But
It wasn't her fault. It was Corey's
I mean,
fault, man.
yeah, it's totally Corey's fault.
So Cory, so for those who haven't seen, they go on a weekend like senior ski trip. Cory messes up his ankle getting off the bus, so he has to stay in the lodge the whole time. But this girl who works at the lodge befriends him, and they stay up all night talking. And yeah, I really think Cory just entertained it. Like he could have just brushed her off or just put up some boundaries, but it's not her fucking fault if she finds him attractive. Like shit.
Yeah, she's all in the mountains all alone.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mountain
I
mountain
mean,
madness.
he got better. He chose to stay
That's
with
true.
her.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I don't know with Corey in those instances, like with the kiss in the closet, like in the previous season, and this, he never tells her like exactly what happened. He just gives her like the cliff notes and expects her to like be cool with it. He never like says like, oh, he has backup, so Sean could help him out. But I know that's not really the point because he still did him anyway. But there were like certain key circumstances where he almost had no choice, or he wasn't always like the aggressor. And he doesn't tell her that. He doesn't say like, "Oh, she trapped me in the closet," and put her face in my face, which is kind of what happened. So he
Yeah.
doesn't tell her. He's not really completely honest with her, even when he's being honest. And I always thought that was an interesting like turn to take. Kind of shows his character flaws.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, I'm not to
Like,
say that he never learns, but there's always something. He's not perfect. None of these characters are, which is
yeah,
good.
he's like
Yeah.
he expects like Topanga to always understand his intent rather than exactly what he did, and he thinks like his reputation like backs up that intent
Mm-hmm.
when it really, dude, it really doesn't.
Because I think he sees himself as like, yeah, I'm this. My heart's always in the right place. It's
Right.
like Dogma.
Yeah.
Your hearts might be in the right place, but your brain has to wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think of
So
that, Vanessa? What, like just kind of Corey's sort of perception of himself, or how he sort of sees the world and everything like that.
Honestly, I think Cory is like really annoying.
That's fair. That's fair.
And even when I was watching it, my sister was like cooking in the kitchen or something, just listening to it, and she's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I'm like, "Shut up."
And it's like the thing
you,
is too. It's like, where's your excuse? Like at least like Sean has a a really traumatic family background, and like comes from a broken home, so of course he's gonna
well,
be a
and he also
little
has that reputation by
yeah
that time because I think that's the same episode or same storyline where the girls trap him in the
yeah yeah
boathouse,
yeah yeah yeah.
which is like an active
Mm-hmm.
nightmare. I think, people, or at least I've had, and it's yeah, so it's not as like it's a little more forgivable when it's Sean because you kind
Mhm.
of expect that, kind of like the other episode from when Dad expects Sean, or he
So
suspects Sean was like
was the
giving
one.
Corey whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's you kind of expect it from Hunter,
Yeah. Uh,
unfortunately.
yes, and how yeah, I find it really interesting that yeah, and the way that like I'm annoyed with Topanga in a lot of episodes, but I think it's only because the writers decide to do whatever the hell they want with her, to like whatever's most convenient for the story. So the whole thing that she also has to have an experience with a boy who is objectively probably perfectly suitable for her too, in order to see what Corey
Mm-hmm.
was talking about this whole time. But hot damn, do I want to punch that artsy fartsy kid in the face every time I watch that episode.
I think both those love interests for Corey and Topanga, like the side ones,
Uh huh.
there were people that were more like them. Like
Yeah.
Lauren was a little more like
Mm-hmm.
Corey, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I don't even remember the guy's
Rick,
name.
I think his name was Ricky Ferris.
Yeah, his amazing take on the Starry Night.
Yeah,
He was way more like Topanga.
yeah. I looked him up. He's a soap actor. I was like, that's why he has that such a punchable
Oh,
face. Like
okay.
soap
Well,
actors
the
all kind of look a certain way.
well, I mean, they had daytime TV and soap
Yeah,
operas, right? Like
yeah,
UPN and ABC,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah, cool.
So and then the Scream episode, guys, or I guess people call it the Scream
I
episode,
love that
but it's
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
yeah, I think that's the first episode I ever saw.
Really, that was a high bar,
Because
dude.
I had I used to tape Pokemon and it was on
Mm-hmm.
UPN. So I guess I had like mistaken the times of like how many episodes they were gonna show. So I
Mm-hmm.
taped a Pokemon episode, and no, it was supposed to be when they were gonna reveal that like that big dragon monster. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember, like it was the water one, but they were gonna reveal it, but they didn't, and I thought they were
Gyarados.
gonna do it. Yeah, and it was like the little fish instead. So they like, I guess they're gonna the follow up episode. I thought they were gonna do it, but then it was just Boy Meets World, and it was the Scream one, and I thought it was so entertaining.
It's a lot of these, and I know we're like this conversation is literally just we're Chris Farleying the hell out of this show right now. We're just like, remember that episode?
You remember that?
That
Yeah.
was awesome. Which is it's fair. Like we're not gonna give you guys like a full breakdown. This like if this is all on Disney Plus if you really want to watch it, and you should. But
Yeah.
this it's fine. Like, but yeah, that's so God. Like, Kenny's dead, Phoebe's dead. We're trapped inside with the killer. Like, season 5 has a lot of those weirder, just like one-off episodes. But this is definitely the high watermark of those episodes for this whole show.
Well, then like the
I
characters
actually
have
showed
had
that
like
episode to
4
my
years.
younger cousin
Yeah.
the other day.
Oh, okay. How did it play for your younger cousin? Wait, which cousin? Or how old?
Christian.
Chris. Okay, how was
He
it for him?
is 15.
Okay. How did it play for a 15-year-old Gen Z kid?
He liked it a lot. He was hella laughing.
Okay, good.
But then
Okay.
also, I kind of like trained him, so I've been showing him a lot of like older nostalgic movies.
Hmm.
He really likes like the older like sports kids movies.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're doing the Lord's work, Vanessa. I'm very proud of you.
Yes.
What's
But yeah, he really liked it.
hmm
Should we give any like, I guess, existential views on, I guess, the show? So I know you gotta go pretty soon, right, Michael?
I'm okay. I have about a half hour I can still play
Okay,
with. So
cool.
yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this when I look back at the season, since I've watched like this like that storyline of Corey and Lauren a few times, I saw it like when I was in high school, when I was doing similar things, and I see it now. It's like you have answers for them now. It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
don't do that, or you like, why the fuck would he do that? But at the time when I'm watching it, like as a teenager, I'm like, oh man, Corey, you and me are like, we're the same right now. So I always liked shows that could do that for me.
For
But
sure.
I'm 30 years old, or almost 30 now, and I'm watching. And like, it's hard to relate to some of it. Like a lot of it's pretty corny, but
Mm-hmm.
um, it's also hilarious. Like
Hey, you
I
guys,
don't
you
know.
guys keep it going. I gotta get something at the door real quick, but yeah, I'll just catch up. So just
Okay.
go in whatever direction you
Okay.
want.
I
And
think
what
they had
else?
2 Halloween episodes this season.
Was that one
Because
of
it was
them?
that.
The Scream one?
There was that one, and then the one where like what's her name, DJ Tanner was in it. She was like a witch.
DJ Tanner. What else happened in that one? Like, do you remember what?
So basically, she is Eric and Jack's neighbor,
Is it
and
the
they
Witches of
need their
Pembroke one?
balcony. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. He caught her practicing witchcraft. Is that like the one of them, or is that
Hmm.
something different?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the same one. Hmm.
I kind of
Was
remember
that a Halloween episode, or was that just like a special episode?
Well, Sabrina's in it. That's the one I guess, or yeah, Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina is
Hmm.
in the guest star. Okay. Yeah, I must have like, I didn't watch that one when I revisited it, but I'll check that one out. Um,
And then they also had another like flashback episode in this one. Or was it a flashback?
I know they flash back to like when
was,
they're on
like-
the jungle gym a lot, or like the park. That might be something
Or I
different.
think it was like one of the special episodes where like they go back in time. It was like
Oh, okay.
Cory went off to war.
I'm looking at the list.
It's like World War II, I think, and then Cory goes off to war, and I guess
Oh. Okay, I
he
think
like
I know what you're
loses
talking
his memory
about.
of Topanga.
Okay. Oh man. I'm trying to find it. Do you know what the name of the
I
episode
don't
is
remember
called?
what episode that one was.
Is it season 5 still
Let
though?
me check. I think so.
Let's see.
They were. It's in my season 5 notes. Let me check Disney Plus real quick.
Yeah.
I'm back. Where are we at? What are we doing?
We're trying to figure out
Do you remember
the
the
episode
episode? They like
with.
Cory goes off to war.
Mm-hmm. That's season 4. It's called. Oh no, season
that season
5.
4?
No, my bad. 5. It's called No Guts, No Cory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out. We're trying to recall that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
I have seen it, but just a couple times. I don't remember that one super well on
But that's
my
the
own.
one. That's the one with Salem in it.
Yes, yeah. I'm so mad that I totally had to run out during the scream portion, but it's okay.
We didn't follow up too much on it.
Fair enough.
But we
We
could
just talked about
go
Witches
back.
of Pembroke.
Oh,
Yeah.
with Candid
Yeah.
with DJ Tanner as a witch,
Mhm.
which is funny because in real life she's like super Christian. So I wonder why she was
yeah,
even
she
cool
is.
with that. I just saw a Yahoo News headline, an interview with her saying like sex can only be best enjoyed through marriage or something. Go figure.
Goodness.
You got
There's
it.
a lot of
You got
there's a lot of
dude.
sexual one-liners in that show.
There's a lot of innuendos in this show, way more than
It's,
I
like,
think we
way
gave it credit
too-
for.
I mean, Corey had a lot more than I'd ever like imagine.
Especially once he just gets way more like horny and like Jewish. How about your
I like
tushy
that.
right now as a sign of good faith?
Oh God,
She's like, okay,
he's
that's fair.
he's cringy. He's so cringy.
Let
Corey
me
Matthews.
let me touch something.
But where she's like, Mr. Fiend, I've never failed before. There's a first time for everything. Oh, that argument won't get you anywhere with this one. Like, come on, Corey. But season 5, do they get back together in season 5?
They do. Well, yeah, they do.
It's at the end of that episode, right?
Yeah, at
Pretty
the end.
much?
Yeah,
Of them there with Sean?
and then they no, it was at no after she goes on the date with the artsy guy.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, you're right.
And
You're right.
then after the next episode, they have to pretend they're still apart because they think Sean needs the satisfaction of getting them back together.
Oh yeah, and he's
Um,
just like, I
The
don't
and
care.
they break up again.
okay. Um,
And then Amy gets pregnant like right after.
Yeah, with a baby that ages like 4 years in 7 episodes. Again, in the grand
Yeah.
okay.
sitcom tradition,
All right.
he gets Nikki.
When did Girl Meets World come out? What year was that?
2015.
Okay, so and that ended in Y2K. So that dude was only supposed to be 15 years old, the little brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you
I
see
don't
him
know
in the
why
Christmas episode.
he seemed like way younger to me when I watched the show.
Okay,
Like
I think
when
kid.
when I looked at it.
The thing is, teenagers just look younger now. Maybe now that we're
Okay.
older, I think I've always just
Yeah.
felt that way. Even though these guys pretty much, I mean, yeah, the chronology is kind of weird, but I think they were all at least 17, 18 when they graduated from high school in those
Mhm.
episodes, so they were legit 17, 18.
Right.
But they just look. I mean, at least Ben Savage looks a little older. Um, but it's all different. I think how people dress, people and
Yeah, there's like
whatnot.
different ways to
Yeah,
do makeup
makeup and
and
everything.
his
Yeah,
hairstyle.
absolutely.
Yeah, I get it.
Hmm.
Um, I mean that dude could be 25 for all I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say, are we cool for season 5? Do we have any more we want to say there?
Oh yeah. Hold
Okay,
on.
okay.
Topanga should have went to Yale.
Oh shit.
oh
Yeah, she
yeah,
totally. I see
yeah, I
that.
remember that. Yep, I agree.
It's like, come on, it's Yale. Ugh.
Maybe
Like I
maybe
don't
her parents would have stayed together if she'd gone to Yale. I'm joking.
Corey just always made that shit about him.
He
Like,
really
it was just
did.
always
Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
was.
he really kept modeled
He's a
his
very
shit.
selfish character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, I get it. Like his parents kind of treat him that way, and he's always like the center of it.
So it happens when you come from a stable household. You think everything just should come
Oh yeah.
easily. It should just be given to you
I
on
mean,
a
yeah.
silver
Corey's the one with
platter.
the
And
least.
Minkus is there.
Oh, he graduates,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's like there for like 2 episodes.
Hmm.
And they do like they do a little fourth wall breaking with like why he wasn't around or something. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I was on the other side of the school or
With
whatever.
Minkus, that whole bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, Mr.
Him
Turner,
and
wait
Mr.
up!"
Turner.
um, thinking what else is there in season 5? I think that's it for me.
Hmm.
I mean the Angela and Sean like the episodes with
Really,
the drinking and all that, like that was cool.
the fact she was really solid, and she's actually like 10 years older than everybody.
Mm.
But so that might also be why like her acting was so good. She's just more seasoned. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
I liked her a lot.
yeah, she really just slid in and totally just had her place.
she was like one of the better characters they introduced, I think.
Hmm.
Then like out of all of them that they brought in later on, like
I would
let's
say I
in
definitely
season 6
yeah.
and 7,
I would go Angela, Jack, and then Rachel.
and then the Dean.
I thought
Oh,
Rachel was
the
so
Dean.
annoying.
Feeney's real life wife. Don't you know?
I had no idea.
Yeah, they've been married since like
They're
1951,
adorable.
and they're still
Okay.
together. Yeah, they do.
Wow.
They'll do like convention appearances together and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's like Jerry Stiller and his wife.
yeah,
from
yeah,
Pants.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Or the Bushkins from Heavyweights.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
My girlfriend told me about that.
Mhm.
I was like, "What? They're married? They're really married?"
Mhm.
Okay. Nice.
Oh yeah, Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman. Yeah.
Yeah, I say
Yeah.
Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's cool. Not too bad. Not too far off.
But that couple is also a big show business couple. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
So into season 6, shall we?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So this is. I like to think of this like now we're just in shenanigans. It just feels like I'm watching. I just feel like I'm watching Friends sometimes, even down to like, hey, we always hang out at this couch all the time now. It's like if we're not
It's
at the
always
couch,
open for us.
we're at our apartments. Yes, exactly. So it's like you could totally tell, and they're always drinking coffee now. So
Well, that was 99. Yeah, that's when Friends was like really popular.
that was Friends
right?
at its peak for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I get it.
Yeah, and a little, and I think my favorite episode of that season is when Cory's convinced that Sean and Topanga have like a thing between them, and he forces them to
Yes.
go out on a date with the immortal line
Underpants.
"Underpants,"
Mm-hmm.
and he tears it. Dude, like I was like, my bad, because he tears his shirt open in like anguish, and he's like decently
I know
cut.
he's hella buff.
He's like lean. He looks like a Jewish Bruce Lee.
Which is the one where he thinks he's boring and he has like the celery poster
That's that.
and
That's that one. It's called Better Than the
okay.
Average Cory. Yeah, there's nothing about me that separates me from anyone
There we
else.
go. And he blames his dad.
That yeah, no, that's the thing
I
too.
know
Like
that was so annoying.
Alan, his parent, Amy's Alan. He's a hard ass, but he doesn't deserve the bullshit like Cory gives him. Even Eric barely like. Cory always came off as super entitled and ungrateful, and Eric never did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was always the voice of reason for Cory too.
Mm-hmm.
As funny as that sounds, like moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
but he always like kind of put him in his place.
Yeah.
Except I think it turned when they took the road trip.
Yeah.
And, at least for their like dynamic,
Mhm.
it stopped being like Eric giving Cory advice.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really happen anymore.
That's true for sure. Because then that was like Eric's lost soul kind of year or two.
Mhm.
What happened to my wiki? Oh, my wiki page is gone. Anything else out of season?
Like when they first started signing up for classes, like, and Cory was signing up for all those like hard classes. Like, don't they have prereqs?
I know, right? Like what,
And then they
quantum
all
physics.
signed up for extra classes.
Yeah.
They all signed up for extra classes, and then they gave him their spot. Like, how does that even work?
You gotta do it before the drop date, so you still get your money back. They did it pretty quick. That's why. Spoiler alert: Sean's dad dies. That's pretty damn significant.
Yeah, I was about to bring up that
Yeah,
episode.
that was pretty sad. That hit me super hard the last time I watched it. I think I actually cried.
I did.
It's a tearjerker.
It really is, man. Like, because yeah, I think all of his resentments and everything, like, it makes sense, you know. Yeah, if your parents aren't really around, you're gonna question everything about yourself, and also just feel like, what's wrong with me? Like, can't my parents help me figure this out? But they're not here, so I just feel super lost. Like, it makes all the sense in the world, and just when they decide to kind of come to Jesus with each other, then we lose Chet.
But he makes his appearance.
He
comes back
he always
as like
comes
a memory. He Han Solos it a little
memory,
bit,
yeah,
you know?
Obi-Wan spirit guide style for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Jack because like he wanted to grieve, but he was always just trying to like fight off Sean, who was going.
No,
down
he
his
was
throat.
he was trying to be like strong for Sean or whatever. He's like, I don't like. He was saying like, I don't deserve. Sean says you don't need to feel this pain, and then Jack is like, I don't deserve to feel this pain because I didn't know him enough, and I'm like, that's hella sad. Like, I was like, okay, man, I see you. Everyone really
Well, and he
stretches
also, like-
their dramatic muscles this season, I would say.
And Jack also points out that he was abusive to the mom, like in the
Oh
previous
yeah,
season.
yeah.
So
and
like,
Chet was an alcoholic.
so if you like put that together, it definitely like maybe would give him some conflicting emotions about grieving.
That's true. That's true.
But it seemed like it was good towards like, I mean, they never had a bad scene together. He never really brought it up. So I mean, that's another continuity thing that I think could work, or you could pick it apart.
Do we want to talk about the when Topanga gets Me Too'd? Or
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I was
with,
about to bring it up too.
with
by Fred Savage.
yeah, that was fucking weird. Like, whose idea was that shit?
And during the hearing, oh my god,
That was
so
frustrating.
irritating.
He's like, thank you.
He-
Like, he was mansplaining like a motherfucker, dude. Oh my god.
He directed that episode, didn't he?
Yeah, so that was
Nice.
a very interesting exercise, I'm sure. And Feeney was like, yeah, I have a question. Do you mind if I rip your head off and roll it down the hallway? Like, damn. But yeah, Stewart's a fucking piece of shit, and he probably never actually got fired, because that's what happens.
Probably not.
Of course not.
Yeah, yeah.
Penbrook.
Uh-huh. Go Penguins.
I don't know. That's like Kevin Arnold if he goes down the dark side,
Yeah.
because Fred Savage just acts exactly the same
So
and
Vanessa,
everything.
yeah, Vanessa, you haven't seen the Wonder Years, right?
No.
So basically, yeah. So
Okay.
Ben Savage is older. It's okay, but more like long story short. So it's a similar coming of age thing, but Ben Savage's older brother. So that's Stuart. He plays a kid growing up, almost I think to the same he goes from like 12 to 16 or 17, but he's basically
Mm-hmm.
Cory if he didn't have all these people putting him in his place. Like if Cory was just
Oh.
allowed to complain about everything and everybody just ate his shit, then that's what we would get.
And it's in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, where like it was more
So
acceptable to be like an asshole, like to be or toxic masculinity was still like just the flavor of the day.
yeah, even like no matter how many times he loses, it's like he still wants to act like that.
Yeah.
So.
So
But yeah, it's like the culmination, I think, of that, like that,
mhm.
just that attitude. But
Yeah,
also, it's like a funny thing to reference to me. I'm like, oh, Kevin Arnold's trying to hit on Topanga now.
it is
Like,
weird. It's very interesting, but
so
I digress. But it's
that's a good episode. Just,
yeah.
I mean, just because like I that was like one of the first things when I was younger, I was like, oh, I know that actor. He's
Hmm.
in this show. I didn't know they were brothers until
Hmm.
later.
Hmm.
Until I saw Fred Savage's last name, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're brothers.
And like
And
you can
he
tell
didn't have Wikipedia.
it's
Like I
true.
didn't couldn't look it up.
And you can tell he's from like Chicago because the way he says class. Like, I really enjoy your paper you wrote for my class, Topanga.
It was a pedestrian.
What if I told you I think about you in the shower? And I'm not
Oh,
gonna.
God.
Sorry. That was my own version of it. But yeah, and then yeah. Actually, speaking of this, again,
It's my fifth.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is my fifth sense.
Hmm. So, Jonathan Cumberland for the defense. Um, this is me at 9 years old watching this show for the first time, and I'm watching this season. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why are they always in the hospital? Because you go from like Chet's heart attack to Josh's premature birth, and
Oh yeah,
I'm like, what's happening? I was like, are these people gonna be okay? But it all works out. It's TV. It always works out. So
yes.
good for everybody. And then then they just make Topanga be like, I don't believe in love because my parents got divorced without telling me. And
Sorry.
am
My
I
bad.
really surprised that my parents, who I don't see because they live in Pittsburgh, hate each other now? Like I didn't really like how they handled Topanga in like the last two seasons. Because like she was
Mm-hmm.
either a wet blanket or a hard ass or just taking all of Cory's shit. Um, so I appreciate her as a character, like as kind of the straight man foil, but it was just depending on the episode, it's hard to get behind her. I think
To get
Jasper.
behind Topanga.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. It's also hard for me to get behind Cory as like being a
Absolutely.
supportive like boyfriend husband.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I think this is it season 7 where they get married and they move into the apartment.
Yeah, the crappy married people
Okay,
apartment.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
like the way he's. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to jump forward, but I agree with you a little bit
Oh,
with
we
the.
can. I think we're pretty much in there. So go ahead.
Well, with like the Topanga, like not supporting, like she makes terrible decisions for herself sometimes, like
Hmm.
the Yale, like not going to Yale, and
Hmm.
I don't know. They still could have got married if she did that.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
and just kind of putting it on Cory, and Cory's like, "Dad, I should be able to live with you because like you love me."
Yeah.
Like,
That was hard to
Like,
watch.
you got married, you have to
I'm like,
fend for yourself.
it was like they should have been like, you know what? You're not Filipino, so you need to move out. Like, if this was about a Filipino couple, they'd absolutely still be living with the parents.
oh yeah, for sure. Um, I don't remember too much about season 7.
Season 7, honestly, like they get so much shit happens in season 6, like heavy shit. That season 7 is just kind of like sitcom shenanigans. You have
Mhm.
like Eric
Yeah.
as like plays
I
with
thought they were
squirrels and
married for a longer time.
no, like just like season I think episode 4
It
of
was like half a season.
yeah, or 2/3, yeah. But so they're
I know
kind
that they never.
yeah.
Sorry, I know that they never played like the honeymoon episode on Disney Channel along with other episodes.
Like
'Cause I
that.
guess they were in bed or something.
Yeah.
It's like, so I remember like there were like 5 episodes they would never show
Oh, dude, I
on
remember.
on
No,
the
no.
Disney Channel.
Actually, no. The weird thing is, so they never showed the drinking episode, the prom night episode, but they did show the honeymoon episode on Disney Channel. Because I remember seeing
Okay.
like Topanga's just bare shoulders peeping above the bed sheets, and I'm like, okay, what's happening?
Okay, maybe you're right. Okay.
But yeah, yeah.
The dad, Angela's dad storyline
Hmm.
was it's I like it and I don't like it. Um, with Sean and he has to like win the dad's like approval and I don't know. Doesn't she leave too?
She does ultimately to spend time with
Yeah.
him, and then but
Mm-hmm.
then you get into that Angela also was abandoned by her mom and everything like that, and that
Mm-hmm.
episode I think
Mm-hmm.
just their performances are really good, and I
Yeah.
would say I think it's safe to say besides probably William Daniels who plays Mr. Feeney that like Ryder Strong is easily the best actor on the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's my
Yeah.
vote. That's my vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He has like the best facial expressions,
Hmm.
comedic timing.
Yeah, like he can do like
Um,
the comedy and like the really like butthurt like work, like hetero life mate of Cory, but then he plays the sort of tortured soul thing really well and stuff. Like
mhm.
yeah, and he's got the hair for it too. But yeah,
The half beard.
oh yeah, he has the weird little goatee at the end, like the beatnik
Yeah,
thing.
I was just like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and it's like really
And
wispy,
I
really
think Eric
wispy.
had it too.
Yeah, no, he just has like the soul patch or whatever, or the soul patch in the
It's coming in
stuff.
nice.
Yeah. He's like, oh, my hair's not gonna grow back. I got my receipt.
Um,
Oh, and then Sean finds out his mom is not his real mom.
Yeah, Verna was just who raised him, but his real mom was a stripper. So he gets drunk one more time. Uh, yeah,
okay.
we had to get.
What
They
else?
had to just click a box. They're like, at least one episode, Sean needs to just have kind of like his life needs to fall apart for like 15 minutes.
And then we get plays with squirrels.
Hell
in this
yeah,
season.
we do. That's
Oh,
Eric's.
the manifesto.
Yeah,
That's a really good episode.
That I love. Yeah, that's probably I would say that's
Mhm.
probably definitely a highlight for the season. That's probably the best episode of the season because it really is a cautionary tale of like having fallings out, and I mean I think obviously maybe not in super dramatic contexts, but like Vanessa, you and I grew up with people who we thought were going to be like our ride or dies, but then some shit happens and we haven't spoken to them in 10 years, and that's fucking life.
Yep.
Uh, so it was very sobering, and yes, for sure. But Plays with Squirrels really tied it all together. Lose one friends, lose all friends, lose yourself, all that good stuff. And
He ends up being plays with squirrels in
anyway, in
Girl
Girl
Meets
Meets
World,
World,
though.
yes, he does. Yes, he does. So maybe we can do a little bonus record of that. Do we have any more highlights of season 7 before we start to close things up?
I don't think so.
Mhm.
I mean, aside from the Mr. Feeney's like final speech,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Uh,
that was good.
you
Yeah.
know, that was a hard one to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But most of it's really like you said, a lot of shenanigans,
Mm-hmm.
a few life lessons thrown in.
Mhm.
But that's all I got.
There's not as really,
Oh.
there's not as many like stakes. I think season 5 is good because there just feels like there's so many stakes to everything. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to say, did you have a secret sauce for season 5? I was gonna say Angela
Yeah,
for season
Yeah.
5.
yeah.
Me too.
Angela, I think for sure coming in and just being kind of like a nice breath of fresh air.
Hmm.
Um,
And season 6, I'm not sure.
I mean, I think so much of it is I'd say just like Cory's neuroses, because like the college years, Cory's just he just turns into like this neurotic, paranoid old Jewish man, and yeah, like he
I like
uses.
the karaoke moment.
Oh yeah. Whoa!
Okay. Yeah.
Or he's like,
Um,
or his. Oh no, he has this whole slam poem about like how sexually frustrated he is. Right? He's like, "Come on, Topanga!" I really got it. Yeah, I just want like a YouTube supercut of all of the times he like shows how like horny he is because it's actually really funny. But
They probably have one
yeah, probably. But
somewhere.
mhm. This was fun, guys. It's always interesting doing this at the end of a long week. I never really know how I'm gonna feel, but this shit gives me life. So I want to thank you both for being on here right now.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
man.
sure. There's bound to be some other episodes where we can have you back on. We have a lot of shared interests on here. Um,
Of
so
course, Mighty
yes.
Ducks, I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get that in. That's all in Disney Plus for sure. Any closing thoughts on Boy Meets World before we take it all home? Or
It's
bring it home.
classic. It'll never get old.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a comfort food show for me. I didn't realize just how much I really appreciated it and like how this was, yeah, like I said, this was the first sitcom I got super invested in and this like claimed as like my shit, you know. And it's still on my sitcom Mount Rushmore, I guess, if I really had to think about
Hmm.
it. Vanessa, your thoughts?
I mean, watching it now and watching it before, it was like a lot different.
Mm,
And I was just like, because I was like thinking about it like as an adult, but I still liked it. Like, I still related to a lot of it, and I thought a lot of it was fun. And now I'm like kind of about Cory and Topanga, but it's okay.
okay.
Yeah, I guess like another final thought I have is it does put me back in a time where I do remember those things, like kind of
Mhm.
going through those same little hiccups and hurdles. So I think it does its job for
Mhm.
our show. Kept me young.
Mhm. Right on. Why don't we close with just one round? We've made a lot of quotes and references, but how about just one more round table? Just a quote that comes to mind, and then we can close it up through there. So I'll start if you guys want. Um, so this is a new one for me. Cory says, "Love is like God. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you know it's there because you can feel its wrath." That's a new one. Okay. It's whatever pops up.
Mine's during the wedding when Eric just goes, ha ha ha, Sean's poor.
That's great.
Oh, a lot of the Feeney quotes used to get me. So the and then there was Sean episode where he's like, "We'll be back to the Young and the Restless after these messages." Shut up.
Yes, very good. Oh, right
Stuff
on,
like
guys.
anytime Feeney like
Feeney had the best
had a
slams.
retort,
Yeah, he
yeah.
had the best slams for sure.
Yes.
On that note, believe in yourselves, dream, try, do good, and we're too old for this shit. So thanks for listening. Peace.